Typically, product development leaders in various product development organizations would worry about three main issues. First is product discovery. How do we discover the right product to develop? Second would be how to prioritize the right projects or the various level of projects that we have and get that prioritization supported across the board. Third is how do we execute on the product development methodology? What methodologies do we use for and ensure engagement from the team members and various stakeholders to develop that project or product? I'm gonna explain from Delane how do we come as a team and support the leader to answer the various questions that he has, primarily on these three main topics. Let's start with product discovery. In product discovery, we bring our best practices from an industry perspective on the table and tailor it to the environment we're dealing with. And we advocate various discovery techniques. Obviously, market researches, focus groups, development of prototypes, interviews with customers to grab the insight from the market and understand the voice of the customer and incorporate that voice in the product development process. However, this is not good enough on its own. We would want to include as well the technology roadmap, because customers, they're not previewed to what the technology is capable of providing and including in the product development. So for example, if you ask a customer, what is your problem and what do you want to solve it? The customer will say, I want a faster horse to get from one place to another. Because the customer does not know that down the road, in terms of technology, there is something called car or aeroplane that can solve the same problem, but in a more convenient way. That's exactly why we blend in the technology vision and roadmap and incorporate that input with the voice of the customer and define what we're building. So we make sure as a development group that we're developing the right product and develop it the right way. The second question or issue that the product development leader would contemplate on is prioritization. How do we, obviously from a product development production line, we have various projects down the funnel of development. How do we all agree as stakeholders on the right priority, what comes first, what comes next, and what comes last? So we from Delane bring a lot of this prioritization techniques to help the leaders arrange that funnel with the right priority and agree on it with all the stakeholders in a product development organization. Some of these techniques would be big room planning, where all the leaders come on board with their portfolio of products, and we lay on the wall all the projects and all the resources that we have, and accordingly define what is needed from support perspective from various entities in the company, and assign points to each project. So for example, what project brings you the most value in terms of customer satisfaction? For example, what project brings the more value when it comes to revenue realization? What project brings you the top value when it comes to market share? We collect various metrics and indicators for each and every project and define what is the number one priority, what is the medium priority, and what is the last priority. And then lay across the funnel the different or the rest of the projects in relevance to these three main building blocks. So we know what is the most project to get out of the funnel, what has the medium priority, and what has the least. and accordingly we lay the funnel relatively, in a relative manner. So that is this prioritization techniques, along with other prioritization technique, we facilitate from Delane to our clients, again, to help them answer that question of how do we as leaders agree on the prioritization of our product development product line. The third question or issue the product leader would want to answer or tackle is the product development methodology. From an industry best practices, there are a couple of ways. The first one is the waterfall model, which is a serial-based task or a serial-based multiple tasks that the product or the project manager with the product development team will have to go through to execute on a certain project, move from one phase to another with approval from gates to move from one phase to another. The problem with the waterfall-based methodology, project management methodology, obviously the serial nature of this process drives the length or the long time in terms of duration for the delivery of that product. So from the minute a concept or an idea is presented to the leader, to the minute we have something to showcase to the customer, it's a very long time, which means that maybe by the time that we showcase that idea to the customer, the idea itself becomes obsolete. The customer wouldn't need it anymore because you grabbed that market or presented that idea like a year ago, and by the time you showcase it to the customer, either the customer requirement has changed or becomes completely obsolete. The way that we like product development to become or to follow is the agile way of product development. And the agile nature is, rather than serial, is more of a repetitive and iterative fashion. The product team or the project development team will come together and they lay on a certain, what we call it, sprint calendar, tasks that they would want to fulfill and deliver on an iterative fashion. So you would work on a certain minimum set of features that you want to deliver to the customer, deliver those minimum set of features to the customer for showcasing, incorporate the customer feedback in the delivery and the development of the second set of minimum set of features. What you're basically doing, you're incorporating the customer feedback in the development process along the way, not only at the end, not only at the beginning and the end, but along the way. So customers will get exposed to the incremental delivery of the product, and they will have their voice heard in that development. So they will come up at the end of the day with a more of a tailored product to their need, which obviously gonna guarantee better customer experience. What we in Delane advise our customers or our product development leaders to follow the agile way of product development because it mainly serves two main objectives: faster time to market and faster benefit realization. And the second is better customer experience. Again, the faster time to market because you're delivering the value in an iterative way. You're not waiting till you deliver the entire bells and whistles at the end, but you're chunking that value proposition into smaller features or smaller set of features and then delivering it to the customer, incorporating the customer feedback in the development of the next iteration, and so on and so forth. So that's one very important benefit of Agile. The second is better customer experience, again, because the customer really participates in the development and in the development process, and the end product will become customized or tailored to that product, to that customer. We advise for Agile, and we have a very solid framework to follow for the Agile methodology. certain structure for team organization that we would want also leaders and organizations to follow. Very streamlined process that will guarantee the engagement from various stakeholders in the organization, because Agile really evangelizes the participation and the collaboration from across the board.